What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Couch Casual Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Diorio, here with my beautiful partner.
Robert Dylan Vasquez. What's up, guys?
Welcome back. We've got a beautiful UFC 314 post show for you guys. We had a little bit of technical issue on the pre-show, some memory issues, so we couldn't save the full recording. So if you watched the last one and it ends abruptly, that's why. But we've got that resolved here, and we are ready to rock and roll. UFC 314 was amazing. Like, it was such a good card. It was so much fun from top to bottom, main card specifically. But I loved it. Great time in Miami, I'm sure.
Sure. And we said it in the pre-show, like, a lot of these paper cards, the ones that look good on paper, something always happens. And thank you to the MMA gods for everything, working out. It delivered. Not only, was it good on paper, it delivered. And that's what I think is very important about this card.
It really did. Like, there was not a bad fight on the main card at all. Everything was entertaining. We had finishes. We had
shockers,
dominating fights. We'll get into that. Call out our boy Dan Ige on the prelims, getting it done against a really long, lanky Charles Woodson, which was probably a short, early stoppage, but
yeah.
And our other girl, Verna Jandiroba, with a pretty dominant win over Yan Xiaonan. So you may be seeing her fight for the strawweight title soon, I'd imagine.
I mean, they're scraping up any name that they can get for old Zhang Weili.
I mean, she kind of dominated Yan on the prelims. It wasn't a close fight. It really wasn't. Like, she ragdolled her, so maybe she's got something. But regardless, we're here to talk about the main card. How about our boy Dominic Reyes?
Now, we could say that we're experts. We're just some casuals. We're a pair of casuals with a happy-go-lucky attitude about life and perseverance. And we put our faith in Dominic. It's not that we felt bad for him, but it's like we could see it going either way. We could see this resurgence of, okay, he's won 2 in a row, let's make it 3, or like, does he stumble back when he's facing a guy who honestly was doing, I wouldn't say a good job at pressuring him, but he was being pressured.
Yes. And we talked about Krylov being the kind of the significant favorite, but not having fought in over a year, over 2 years, he hasn't fought. Dominic Reyes has been on a roll ever since his couple of bad losses post John Jones, and he seems to be in gear again, honestly. I'm sure this shoots him to the top 10. Let's see the boy rise. If he could get back to a title fight, that would be so cool. Just the drastic fall after the John Jones fight to come back, potentially compete for a title. I mean, he's looked great ever since he wasn't looking great, if that makes sense. Like,
sure, yeah.
Just turned on a head for him, which is great.
And see, as sloppy as Krylov was coming in, just chin up, with that pull too that Dom landed, just boom, and then you could just tell he was out on the feet.
He was done. It was beautiful, dude. He really put on a show. First round knockout, a couple minutes into the fight, really not much you could talk about. He looked great. I want to see him get another top 10 opponent, maybe a top 5 opponent. He's been on a little bit of a tear, so let's see it. Let's give the boy some love.
Let's hear it for old Dominic Reyes, everyone. Shout out to him. Shout out to the Masters. Shout out to the Masters.
Yeah, it was a legendary Masters ending. I don't even really watch the Masters, but it was pretty crazy.
Shout out to the Couch Casuals Golf Club.
Yeah, check that one out. Coming out 2030 maybe.
Yeah, something like that.
We'll see about that.
When we get back into some fall golf.
Yeah. Ooh. Anyway, we're going into the only fight that I think mattered as far as bragging rights, if I'm not mistaken, is concerned. Bryce Mitchell and John Silva. John Lord Silva. Well,
what a fucking dork.
Down,
what a
put down. Don't be upset. He made Bryce look like a pissant little baby. He looked terrified to be in the cage with John Silva. That was not Bryce Mitchell. You know, I'm not a big fan of Bryce Mitchell, but he's a good fighter. He was not a good fighter Saturday night. He looked scared. Can you agree with that? You know I'm right.
I don't think he was shaking in his boots, but
I think he was shaking his little cowboy boots.
I think it was apparent that he
got in his head.
I don't want to say didn't want to be there, but when you go back and you look at the Ilia Topuria fight, the fluidity of his boxing, it wasn't. It was kind of like he wasn't scared to go. I'm never gonna say he was scared to go. It was just it wasn't computing for him.
Very timid.
Sure.
He didn't have that something about his performance. Like, he looked intimidated. I think John Silva was in his head and he was talking to him the whole fight.
The talking is okay.
Yeah, it is.
But dude, act like you've been there before. God dang, I wanted him to get slept so bad. Bryce was landing kicks early. Now, I back the rest of the fighting nerds. I didn't really know about this cat. I know when you brought up, not you, they brought up on I was going to say the podcast. They brought up on the broadcast that he's got knockout wins in the first round or two or whatever. Like 3 of them, 3 or 4 since his debut.
Yeah.
He beat up my coach, Wes Wilson, over at Upstate Karate.
He beat up Drew Dober.
Did he?
Charles Bourdain. Wes Wilson.
Yeah, that one hurt. That one, because I think it was Wes's debut, and he took it in the Apex on short notice. And I was like, oh, 2 guys. I gathered my friends around. I was like, this is my old coach. And then
he was in front of a monster.
Yeah, but we didn't know that at that point.
Yeah, we didn't know it at the time, but like, John Silva is kind of a scary dude.
He's growing into, just like the rest of the fighting nerds, they're, as a collective, 19-0 now in the UFC.
Dude, they're insane. They're entertaining. They bring the energy. I mean, he choked Bryce out.
Yeah, I was scared.
Bryce tapped pretty quick,
and
he was still out by the time he let go.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, my God, dude, the strength he had to have had in that. It was like kind of like a front headlock type thing.
Ninja choke.
We call that one ninja choke. Yeah, see that one. It's impressive.
It's essentially like a no-arm guillotine, and I was scared of that because I had seen like signs of it early in the fight when he was like shooting for like inside head. Yeah, right. And so I seen him clasp down on it, and I'm like, get out of there! Like it's not like I needed Bryce to win. I just wanted the lore behind the trash talk in the press conference when he's like, put down a lot of dogs in my day. Like, you don't want to see him win because of all the WW2 talk that he's been spewing lately. You don't want to see him win. But that's why I wanted to see him win, because the hate would have been outrageous. And at least let him get this one and then maybe one more and then suffer like a defeat. But he didn't even get like this meteoric rise. He's like, oh, this and that, and I'd like to fish with that guy before he got on. And then it's like he loses.
Boom.
And it's like,
the stock plummets.
It's not fun anymore. It's just it's like, oh,
let's be honest.
Yeah, go ahead.
He's a little bit of a sore loser too. John Silva said, "Let's pray together at the end." You know, he refused to sit with him, and he genuinely believes that he's some sort of demonic person apparently. And John Silva said, "I mean, that's just kind of sad." I didn't think he actually believed that. You know, he's going in to sell a fight, and it's just unfortunate that he actually believes that kind of stuff about me.
He might not be right in the head, you know?
He's definitely not. But I mean, it was a great performance.
Like stellar. I said Bryce was landing kicks early. I was like, okay, that's going to be in the way. He's landing some like front leg side
Some early
kicks.
stuff in too. Like John Silva just didn't seem bothered by it, which did concern me at first because you know sometimes those guys who are acting that way they'll end up getting caught maybe, but it really didn't ever happen. Like he shrugged a lot of shit off, and it was kind of crazy.
Now looking back at it, you're kind of like, oh, that wasn't for show. Like he really just was in there to put on a great performance.
Yeah, it was legit, and hopefully we see him again soon. Featherweight is probably the second most exciting weight class right now. I'd say right behind 155. And this dude's right up there with him as far as entertainment. That was a top 13 win, so let's get a number by his name, and maybe let's see a top 10 fight moving forward and see what happens. Because I'm all about the fighting nerds, as I've said multiple times.
I just want to go ahead and give you the bragging rights for that.
Yeah, I think the fighting nerds are going to give me a lot of bragging rights moving forward.
Well, I'm not going to go against the fighting nerds, but I am forever against John Silva.
Well, fair enough.
He's the kind of kid that stands. He's the kind of kid that stands on the gravitron. Like, all right, buddy. Like, we get it. Like, you're cool. You're not. You're a fucking dork, bro.
Don't be a hater.
You're a dork. Act like you've been there. Win with some grace. He's like hugging Bruce Buffer as Bruce is trying to announce his name. I'm like, hold on.
Who's like one of your favorite fighters? Colby Covington, right?
Excuse me.
What about Grace? Don't even mention Grace. Win with Grace.
What?
Lose with Grace. We'll talk about Colby here in a minute. I think it's crazy where he's being brought up twice on this podcast, but we have to talk about him in a minute.
Be good at it. There's a heel and then there's cheap heat.
What do you always say to the Brazilian fighters? What do you always want them to do? You want
take
them
a shower,
speak English, communicate, entertain, get your
barking
name out there.
Is not English, Kyle.
It's no one universal language we all understand. We all know what barking is.
Sure.
It's a dog.
I'm cutting to 145 and I'll take him out myself. Anyways, on to the next.
We go into another dog's debut. Patricio Pitbull.
I like that.
Fighting nice. Yair Rodriguez. And it wasn't the debut he wanted at all.
Looking back at his previous fights, you're kind of just like, what the hell was that?
I mean, it was not great.
I've never enjoyed being right less. I said that Patricio Pitbull was going to come to the UFC. Now he's in the big leagues. Yair has been here. He's fought the top of the top, been the interim champ. He's going to whoop the fuck out of Pitbull. Now, did he? Not the fuck. And I don't mean to be explicit, but
just take that off and he got it right. He got whooped.
Now, when there was the ground exchange where Yair was just...
Yeah, it was nasty.
Just didn't show up. Like, it was even... I'm not saying Bryce was, like, terrible, but he was timid and he didn't want to go. Pitbull looked just... Let's go. He didn't look phased. He just kind of cruising.
They kept pointing out, like, it's almost like he just wasn't in the fighting zone. Like, they kept saying, oh, maybe once he gets hit, he'll kind of waken up. And, he kind of did at times, but it just wasn't enough. I mean, he has 38. When was his last fight outside of the UFC?
A while. But his last fight was a 145-pound title defense, I believe, which is 5 rounds. He's had multiple 5-round fights. So in his mind, not fighting for a while and then coming back in, you don't want to blow the tank. But you only got 3 rounds, Bubba. You got to go.
Man, it was not the debut he wanted. I don't really know maybe what does he do from here? Where does he go? Who does he fight next? I don't
Fights
know.
Chandler at 55.
I mean, throw them on a fight night at this point,
They don't want to do that.
dude. Couple of Bellator legends had a rough night at the office last night. It was something else, but I mean, yeah, Yair just looked really good.
Fast.
And they looked fast. Patricio just had no answer for anything. He looks so small compared to Yair.
Yeah, yeah. And Yair, probably in the best shape of his career, to be honest, aesthetically.
He looked great.
There was this kick that he was doing where the kick would come up, and then as it was going down, there would be like a punch behind it, and you're like, bro, if not like the same side, like right kick, right hand, it's like, bro, this guy is he's throwing everything at you so quick. And Pitbull landed a couple good ones, but just the significant strike difference alone was just like, you can't get to me, boom, boom, like kick.
It was 70-17.
That's embarrassing. It's not a complete shutout. It's not a
but when you have so few significant strikes, there's a fight in a couple minutes where the significant strike differential was a significant, but at the same time, I think the fight was a lot closer than this one was.
Mm-hmm. It depends on what you're doing when you're getting your significant strikes.
Yeah, how much power is behind some of those significant? Some of these guys don't throw as much and they hit harder. So, but Yair was never really significantly in trouble.
I think this is one of those victories, kind of like a Brian Ortega. He's not going to move.
No,
he beats this guy that just came in, was supposed to prove himself. If Pitbull would have won in an emphatic fashion, we'd be talking about him maybe 2 fights away from a title. Yair is kind of like everybody in front of him that's beat him. I mean, there's heat there with Diego Lopez.
Yeah, I think that's probably the next fight. Let's be honest. I think that makes a lot of sense. I don't know what they were talking about. I don't know what the heat was.
I think it was over a girl.
But you know what? You can't come at my boy Diego like that and me be a fan. So
no, and go ahead and just leave that alone. I don't want to say it was over a girl, but I've seen a couple stories here and there that there was a teammate of his back when Diego was a champion at the lower promotion, and his homeboy was supposed to fight Diego, and then COVID or some shit like that. So who knows? Beef is beef. Let's meet in the cage and talk it out.
It's a good fight to make anyway. Let's be honest. I don't know. Diego's 3. He probably doesn't fall after Saturday night, but
no.
3 and 5, either fight night main event, co-main event, a pay-per-view. There's a show coming up in Atlanta. Maybe, throw it on there. Throw that as the main event. That'd be pretty cool.
Dude.
But we'll see. But anything else about this fight in particular?
Shout out to PFL Bellator.
Rest in peace. Let's move into the co-main event and
bomb.
I'm glad I made the pick that I made. Michael Chandler versus Paddy the Baddy. And what did I say? This was going to be telling for both fighters.
Sure.
Michael got dominated. He got dominated worse than he's been dominated by anybody else he's fought.
In the UFC, yeah.
This was Paddy's best performance of his career.
Yeah.
Period. I can't even front. Michael is so disappointing. That was disappointing. But you know what? You've pulled me to the Paddy train. He won. He's a cool dude. Let's see where he goes from here. But that was dominant, man. He finished Michael. Michael had nothing. He took him down once, but it really didn't result in anything. Michael didn't land a single one of his bombs. Like, it was just, Paddy looked fairly clean by the end of the fight.
Michael landed one big shot that almost put Paddy out. It was a kick to the dick.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he did land that dick kick, and I'm sure old Dustin Poirier was quick to, like, I told you, I fucking told you.
They kicked at the same time. But
they did.
I just want to go ahead and reiterate, I've been on the Paddy train since he was in negotiations with Cage Warriors, whether he was going to come to the UFC or not, back when he was like 21, like 9 years ago. And then, you think, oh, you didn't take the UFC contract this go around. You think it's going to come again? Like, you really think, he's got 3 losses, I think, total on his record. And you're like, why would you deny a trip to the UFC? And he's like, I just don't think I was ready yet. And what hindsight.
Dividends.
I mean, dude, to get a couple more fights, titles, just have that experience.
His approach to his career has been incredibly intelligent. Take slow rolling it. Let's not rush me to the title. And I'll talk about this shortly too. I don't think Diego Lopez got rushed to the title. I don't think he was quite ready, which is a good thing that Paddy's taking these type of fights to, let's just slow roll it.
Mm-hmm.
There's steps to be made for a reason. Not everybody's John Jones, like, get that experience, fight those top level guys. This was a 5-round fight. Didn't go 5 rounds.
That's what I was worried about. Real quick, speaking on Michael Chandler, when he throws his fight IQ out the window, that's when you're kind of like, you're not disappointed in the fight itself, because then it turns into a cockfight. Then it turns into like bloodbath. It's going both ways. He didn't look like he was throwing away his game plan. He looked like he couldn't execute his game plan. I don't know if you heard at the end of round 1. I think it was round 1 or 2. I'm pretty sure round 1. He's so far away. Like, I can't get in there. He's so far away, and his coach is like, it's because you're going at him straight. Go side to side, and he couldn't do that either. He was backing up straight.
This was a fairly tame Michael Chandler. He wasn't using his explosive just balls to the wall. I thought it looked very conservative for the most part. And man, he got beat. Like, Paddy stopped him dominantly. He had a full mount, just completely raining hell on Michael Chandler. That knee, and you can, in the slow-mo, you see the cut like open up.
Wiggle.
It was nasty, and Michael got bloodied. I mean, when is Michael not bloody in a fight? But
have you seen the stills though? Like the really high quality pictures where Paddy's got, it's like, it's not full mount, but it's like he's like mounted and he's looking up at Paddy and he's just like, dude.
What do you do? You got a guy just on top of you and there's nothing you can do, and he's just raining shots down on your face. That's gotta be terrorizing.
Paddy was like, I watched him for 5. I think the first Charles fight, he got knocked out, he got stopped, maybe, and then, or choked out. And so the second fight, I forget how the first fight ended with Charles and Michael Chandler. He dropped him, right? TKO?
Yeah.
The second fight, he's on his backpack for almost all 5 rounds, and he can't get the sub. He's just hand fighting. Yeah. So Paddy's like, he starts hand fighting, and there were a couple of times where I'm like, he's got it, but it was kind of like a half crank, and he like wasn't sunk in. Paddy's like, fuck this, I'm not hand fighting for 5 rounds. I'll just mount you and just boom, 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 just rain down shots. And to talk about Paddy's stand up, it didn't look super fluid. It looked a little unorthodox, and you could tell like it wasn't like ba-ba. It was like boom. Boom! Like there was some like lead.
His stand-up has never looked like crisp fluid, but it's like always problematic.
Yeah.
For fighter, obviously King Green went for a takedown.
I think there's a little more thud in those.
Yeah, there's a lot more thud than I think these guys expect, and Paddy physically, like you were saying about Yair, Paddy looked like he was in the best shape of his entire life.
Yeah.
He looked he's probably 1-2 fights away from a top, at least 2 probably. I don't think 1 gets him there, but maybe 1 if he like takes on like a Charlie Olives or something and gets a dub. That's what he wants, Charlie Olives. Armin Sarukian, he said no, fancy boy.
That helmet, that fucking mushroom.
Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier. Oh, I think Dustin's got a fight signed up. I've seen 2 different people for Dustin, which I think the real one's Max, correct?
Yeah, I mean, that's what Uncle Chael says.
Okay.
Dustin said nothing's been signed yet.
Ilya. I saw Ilya as well. But
well, that was coincidence of being like, no, I'm only fighting legends in my last fight. And then Ilya changed his nickname to Legend.
Okay.
What a nerd. Jesus Christ.
What a dork. Well,
chorizo.
Anyway, Paddy the Baddy's on his way up. I'm excited to see where he goes from there because that was a great win. Like, that shit was dominant.
It's not that I didn't care about the main event. My adrenaline was just depleted. I was like, okay, I can go to bed happy now.
I mean, he's got a pretty unblemished record minus the Gordon win. He's finished everybody in the UFC.
Which brings me to my point. Just how good is Jared Gordon?
Jared Gordon might be a title contender as far as we know.
Feed Michael Chandler to Jared Gordon next.
Let's see it, dude. Let's see. Let's check in on old Jared Gordon. What's he done in the
I think he's
subsequent years?
I think he's lost.
He could not continue against Bobby Green. He beat Mark Madsen, and then he lost to Hawk Prost. So
a little Oreo, little half and half, little.
Look, you got Paddy on the come up, so Paddy had a lot of learning to do.
Sure, and did he
clearly learned. He took notes on his way up.
So you didn't move the goalpost for Paddy. You're not saying that Michael Chandler's washed up or like he's past. This probably needs to retire. Paddy beat a guy who.
I'm not going to take that win away from Paddy, even if this isn't the same Michael that debuted against Dan and had the close title fight.
Yeah.
I mean, he goes to war with Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier, and I mean, he was right in there with Charlie Olives in his last fight. So I'm not going to be one of these guys that just says he's completely washed. But man, Paddy is up a level for sure.
Real quick, yes or no? You don't have to elaborate. We need to move on. Do you subscribe to the theory of Paddy? I wouldn't call it a theory, but kind of like a notice of like Dustin, Justin, maybe even Charles. You all kind of struggled with Michael. Like Charles got dropped by Mike. Dustin got put up against the cage, wailed on for a little bit, ended up choking him out, but they were both bloody in that fight. Justin ate some big shots from Michael Chandler. It's like they just didn't really have an answer from Michael's style, and Paddy having that tape on Michael really helped. But they kind of struggled with Mike Chandler. So it's like, MMA math,
young guys, he's coming in at the right time, 155, a little age heavy.
They're starving for a younger star.
So we've got a younger star. Give him a couple fights. Let's see what he can do with Islam, because I don't think Islam's losing prior to
retirement.
That, yeah, we'll get to that when we get to that. But Islam is he's a different animal, I feel like. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm done with that one. Shout out to Paddy the
Paddy. Let's move on to our boy Alex Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez. Man, this was a pretty great fight.
Yeah.
Volk was looking like Volk of old.
Mm-hmm.
Diego looked a little gun shy early on, especially. He kind of got it going, but I feel like there's a great learning opportunity for Diego because I think he seemed nervous.
He
First couple of rounds at least.
yeah, he has that nervous tick where he's just like he reaches, and I'm like, man, you never want to just drop your hand, even if it's for a second.
I don't like that. Wait, John Anik was saying it itches when he sweats due to an injury when he was younger.
I think he's just like it's a tick.
Is it possible to just not scratch? Like, you just gotta. It may not be taken away from his fights now, but I'm afraid it at some point will.
Just don't leave the side of your jaw, your head.
Yeah.
Somebody throws even it doesn't have to be like they're not gonna see him reach for it and then throw it, but just like the brain not being able to not do that, the head kick could already be on the way. And if it's just another thing, whatever. That's a 1 in a million chance. But this is MMA.
Possible. It is possible. Yeah, I doubt anybody times that kick perfectly with the tick, but if it times out, it could. I mean,
that's it.
Problem. He does drop Volk in round 3, I think.
And I think this is what you were alluding to earlier when you were talking about the difference in insignificant strikes. Sure, Volk was landing a lot, kicks, punches. He was doing this weird like lean back kind of like Adesanya, where he's just like, it was like he was in the clinch, but then he would ba ba ba, and he would like throw the overhand left. That was landing on Diego a little bit. End of the second, was it? Where
second or third, yeah.
He was backing straight up, and Diego just boop, boom.
And he hit me with this kind of awkward glancing downward shot, but it drops Volk.
And he goes, "What was it? What was that?"
Dude. And then I think there's later in the fight, he kind of gets hit with this uppercut as he's leaning down, and it fucks his eye up completely.
Mm-hmm. Which you can't talk like that when you're in the corner, because he goes, "I'm starting to get my vision back now." And if any athletic commission like employee personnel would have heard that, they would have been like, bring the doctor in. And what a shitty way to lose.
Yeah, it would have sucked. Fortunately, that didn't happen. It was a great fight. Both those guys can walk away with their heads held up pretty high. Diego Lopez, he said it was an honor to be in there with Volk. I hate that Volk has the Ilya loss.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still going to make excuses because it was so close after that brutal Islam knockout.
Which he shouldn't have been fighting Islam.
No, neither of those fights should be on his thing. And now he's got those 2 blemishes when that was like classic Volk Saturday night.
And that was legacy chasing when he fought Islam. Both times.
Yes.
Both times. Even the first time, the one we watched at your place, it was like, okay, well, what is he doing this for? Well, he doesn't want to fight Max for the 5th time, for the 9th time.
Yeah. Obviously, everybody wants to go for that
champ.
That champ status after you've kind of dominated your division. So the first one made a lot of sense. The second one, on like 7 days' notice.
You can do it like Usman and just lap everyone.
Just lap everybody.
But
There's nothing wrong with that, dude.
Chasing legacy. And so
I get it.
The second one being as short as it was, you're like, oh, well, he's going to go in. He did so good the first time. Islam hasn't been preparing for this kid, this man. It's like, what can he do the second time? And just got clipped, put out. Then he goes, no, I'm different. I'm going to do this short turnaround. I'm going to defend my belt. No, you are different. You're a different specimen, you are. You have to chill. And he's like, nah, I'm different. Went and got slept by old Chorizo.
Yeah. Man, but not much else to say about the fight itself.
By the way,
I was happy to see Volk win.
By the way, how unimportant is Colby Covington that we didn't even bring him up during the
we didn't even bring him up when we were supposed to. I mean, he's just trying to stay relevant.
A lot of people say that, and I'm like, well, no. If anything, you're getting attention from Colby too. I felt it with the Paddy thing.
This one was very noticeable.
It felt like, oh no, go take that hot girl you were sitting with and just go back to the hotel and bang it out.
Yeah, just go hang out. It's fucking.
That wasn't a good look. And those are like, I don't like it when my guys clash because then it makes me choose favorites. It's like picking my favorite kid. but I don't know, man. It just it seemed it smelled artificial.
It did. It was very. I'm trying to get my name back out there after my terrible last fight.
Anyways, back to the fight. Diego Lopez in the 5-round club. You don't got to worry about that no more. So
yeah, he didn't tire out. He looked great the whole 5 rounds.
His nose
explosion of energy at the end of the fight, which I wish he had sooner. But
you just don't. I'm not saying you don't trust yourself, but like you don't know until you know. So this was a learning experience. His nose looked a little fat. His temples looked a little swollen where Volk was hitting him. Aesthetically,
for sure.
Volk looked fucked.
Yeah, no, Volk's face was fucked up.
Yeah.
The 2 cuts under his right eye, the left eye being almost closed due to that uppercut.
I thought he had orbital damage when he got hit with Diego.
He does.
When he got hit, I wouldn't be surprised if he did. He got hit and he backs up. And then you look at the replay, and the glove like barely scrapes the eye, and DC was like, "Oh, those are the worst." I thought he got hit and was like, "Ow, that hurt more than usual." Ow, hey, like I just thought it was something like that, but apparently it was the eyelid being. I don't know.
That sounds awful. That sounds.
What's
so bad.
Next for Volk? We already talked a little bit about Diego. I think the Yair fight makes perfect sense. But
I think that's there for you.
They said something about Yair getting promised a title shot. I don't know if Pitbull. I don't know if I want to see that though.
I don't really,
because that's a run back. And
but
go ahead.
Let's be honest. Who else is there?
With Max going to 55, with Elia going to 55.
Not going to be Brian Ortega.
Brian Ortega's trying to go to 55, right? I think that's what he said. I think that's what he said. All these guys, you got Aljamain. He's coming up from 135.
Take a loss.
Dude, I would like to see Marab and Volk. That would be sick.
That'd be kind of neat.
Too bad Sean O'Malley's going to knock him out.
God, I think you're right. I think Yair might have. Oh yeah, I was still thinking about featherweight. Yair and Volk might be the only move.
That's such a. Just as we were like, oh no, it's one of the most exciting divisions. It's
maybe we were wrong.
It's just not deep. All the guys that are at 145 are coming up. They're like rising through the ranks.
Fuck it. Sean Silva versus Volkanovski. Sign it,
please.
I'd watch it.
I want to see that dork get his face smashed in.
It might happen.
I hope so. I hate seeing Joe Rogan wear those glasses almost as much as I see him wearing that stupid papaka every time Islam or Habib wins.
Oh, the Red Lobster outfit he wears every single pay-per-view forever.
Well, yeah. It looks slimming.
No, it doesn't. He looks like a fucking dork.
Stop.
And I like Joe. Switch the outfit up, dude. Get a jacket.
It's supposed to be like DC and look like fucking Easter Sunday at church?
Oh, just,
purple and white.
Different, dude.
John Anik.
He's the guy that was like, backstage, he's like, you have to dress up for these. Do I have to?
Yeah, let him wear his Noble shirt or his shoes and then a hoodie or like, it's the UFC.
Look cooler.
John
would look better than the fucking Red Lobster t-shirt. Or
John Anik looks like Cody Rhodes.
Don't you ever talk about John Anik that way?
He looks like Cody Rhodes.
John Anik is clean as fuck every single pay-per-view.
I did like when they got their ABC jackets. That was dope. You remember that?
That was cool. Yeah, the ABC broadcast. That was clean.
UFC 300, I think Joe Rogan was suit and tie. I'm pretty sure.
Probably not, but
he dresses. He doesn't do the all, but he does it often, more often than not. What do you want him out there in a salmon-colored button-up? Nobody wants to see that.
Spice it up, dude. Joe wore the same thing at 300 that he always does.
Come on, man, give old JR a break, dude.
I love Joe. He's got passion for the sport. I just switch up the shirt once in a while.
A lot of people say don't read the comments. We don't really have that many comments to read, but
we don't really have comments to read, unfortunately.
I will secede that I do read Reddit comments about DC and Joe were so terrible at commentating. They're so biased, and I'm like,
that's so lame, dude.
I do like listening to Dominic Cruz when I'm in the mood to listen to Dominic Cruz or Bisping or Paul Felder. I don't want Joe to have that play-by-play. He's watched over 10,000 fights in his life. Let the guy talk about what he wants to talk about. But yeah, man. I think 314 they showed up and they showed out.
314 was great. 315 on paper, not looking so hot, but we'll see. We'll see what happens when we get there.
We'll get to that when we get to that.
Anyway,
are we done?
I believe that's our post show. All right, everybody. You know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe. Send me your credit card number.
Social security
send me
information.
Your bank account information. Comment all of that down below. And if you're going to watch WrestleMania next weekend, comment that too, because I will be. Robert might.
Oh, yeah, both days. Who?
We're your boys. We love you. We're out.